In this podcast episode, Bill Maher discusses various topics including the current state of the left, the lack of diversity in comedy, the importance of truth, and the impact of politics on everyday life. Maher begins by stating that the left has gone to goofy places and that he has always been willing to criticize the left when necessary. He mentions that the left has become more focused on identity politics, victim culture, and cancel culture, which he believes are worthy targets for satire. Maher also discusses the impact of politics on comedy, noting that many comedy shows have become toothless and unwilling to make fun of the left. He mentions that his show, Real Time with Bill Maher, is different because it is a political show and he invites guests who are knowledgeable about current events. Maher acknowledges that he has lost some viewers due to his willingness to criticize both sides of the political spectrum, but he believes in being honest and not pretending. The conversation then shifts to the topic of COVID-19 and the government's response to the pandemic. Maher expresses his frustration with the government's intrusion into people's lives and the pressure to conform to certain narratives. He believes that people should have the freedom to make their own choices regarding vaccines based on their individual circumstances. Maher also criticizes the lack of diversity in opinions and the tendency to follow the mainstream narrative without questioning it. The discussion then turns to the issue of transgender rights and the lack of nuance in the public discourse. Maher argues that there should be a middle ground between denying the existence of transgender individuals and erasing the differences between men and women. He believes that people should be able to express their opinions without fear of being attacked by the mean girls of Twitter. Maher also touches on the issue of political correctness and the prioritization of feelings over truth. He believes that political correctness has become a problem in society, stifling honest conversations and preventing people from expressing their true opinions. Maher emphasizes the importance of truth and the dangers of pretending or lying to appease others. The conversation continues with a discussion about the current state of comedy and the role of satire in society. Maher expresses his admiration for satirical comedy and its ability to point out hypocrisies and challenge the status quo. He believes that comedy should not shy away from controversial topics and should be willing to make fun of both sides of the political spectrum. Maher continues by addressing the issue of political correctness and how it has evolved over the years. He mentions that while there are still people who dislike jokes about religion, they are not the driving force behind political correctness in 2023. Maher believes that political correctness has changed, and people who criticize him for changing are mistaken because it is society that has changed. The conversation then shifts to the topic of obesity and the shift in societal attitudes towards it. Maher points out that the traditional approach of diet and exercise to combat obesity seems to have been abandoned in favor of pharmaceutical solutions. He acknowledges the role of pharmaceutical companies in providing necessary medications but also highlights their profit-driven motives. Maher expresses concern about the lack of understanding regarding the effectiveness and potential side effects of these drugs. The discussion then moves to the cultural differences between England and the United States. Maher suggests that the US is a culture built around consumerism and comfort, which he believes is a common trait in many countries today. He also mentions the increasing diversity in London and expresses frustration that achievements in diversity are not celebrated enough. Maher then delves into the topic of America's standing in the world. He argues that despite the challenges the country faces, such as the pandemic and political divisions, America continues to thrive economically and maintain its global influence. Maher emphasizes the importance of acknowledging the country's strengths and achievements rather than solely focusing on its flaws. The conversation takes a turn towards discussing former President Donald Trump. Maher acknowledges that while he did not personally like Trump's personality, he recognizes his political genius in mobilizing crowds and owning his supporters. Maher also criticizes Trump for his refusal to concede the 2020 election, highlighting the importance of accepting election results for a functioning democracy. The discussion then touches on the policies of Trump and President Joe Biden. Maher suggests that Biden's policies on immigration are not significantly different from Trump's, as both administrations have faced challenges in addressing the issue effectively. He also mentions the decline in America's global reputation under Biden's leadership, citing events such as the Russian invasion of Ukraine and the withdrawal from Afghanistan. Maher expresses his hope for America's future, stating that he is not going anywhere and believes in the resilience of the country. He acknowledges that America has its flaws but emphasizes its economic strength, military power, and global influence. Maher also discusses the importance of consent in a democracy and criticizes Trump for his refusal to concede the election. The conversation concludes with a discussion about the possibility of Trump running for president again in 2024. Maher believes that Trump will likely be the Republican nominee and could potentially win the election. He speculates that Trump may face legal troubles but doubts that he will be imprisoned, suggesting that he may be under house arrest at Mar-a-Lago. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.